Little Rock, Arkansas for the last couple months, and I will be here for a few more months. And I just want you all to know how welcomed I have felt and how wonderful and how I feel so great about this state. I congratulate you all on the tremendous job that you have done this year, and thank you for coming to the Walsworth Banquet. And I would like to introduce the local rep here, a legend in her own time.
Hello.
Jenny, there you go.
Hi. Are you believing me? My name is Jenny Weitzel, and I am the local rep here for Walsworth. Walsworth, your books. Hello. And I also work, so Northwest Arkansas, and then I also work in the Fort Smith area, so shout out to Fort Smith. And we just want to actually give a shout out to the people behind the scenes of ASPA, because they put on this convention for you guys, and it's a lot of hard work, so let's give a shout out to them. And just thank you guys for coming and have fun tonight.
Welcome again. I hope you guys are all having fun. Yeah, awesome. I'll tell you what, so many people were excited that you guys were coming here. Everyone I asked immediately said yes. You know, the chancellor, you guys met him earlier today, and I said, will you come and speak? And he was like, yes. But his people told me, well, no, he can't, because he's got this whole big ceremony going on that day. And then I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I heard you can't come. And he said, who said I couldn't come? I said, your people said you couldn't come. He said, oh, I'm coming. And I was like, okay. And then I reached out to a person who I have never met in my life. And I said, hey, would you consider talking to our students? And his response was like, oh yeah, I'll be there. So he is here today. Our featured speaker is Matt Standridge. He is a meteorologist with a local station here, but I'm gonna let him tell you all about that. Matt is an awesome person, so I did finally get to meet him, and I can't believe he just agreed to do this from a person who sent him a message. So Matt, would you please come up and greet our crowd.
She left out the part that she said she slid into my DMs. That's how she got a hold of me. That's what she said. That's what they said. Oh my goodness. Hey, it's great to be with you guys this evening. It's a pleasure to be invited. So great introduction. Thank you so much. I work for Channel 5 here in Fayetteville and Fort Smith. I'm the chief meteorologist. So we're really glad that we got to be here, because we were tracking some thunderstorms. I know you all are all across Arkansas coming into Fayetteville. Some are from Northwest Arkansas, but a lot of you traveled a long way to be here. And all your guys' hometowns are getting some storms right now, but we're enjoying the nice weather. I saw a lot of people taking some pictures out there a little bit earlier. But you may be wondering, why is a meteorologist up here? And so when Renette came to me, I even asked my bosses. I got some of my Channel 5 bosses here as well. And so I kept asking them, am I a journalist? And I kind of got a confused look. Well, yes and no. And so what I would say, because we're going to look at some things, I am in the journalism world. But as a scientist, I take the principles that you guys have and I use them in the weather every single day. In fact, the first time that I tried to be a journalist led to the best summer of my life, and to the point where it inspired me to become a pilot. I'm not a pilot yet, but I'm working on pilot lessons. So I'm a meteorologist, so I got my headset on, went ahead and got that. But I love the sky, right? And so to be up in the sky is probably a meteorologist's dream. So I'm gonna tell you that story about how I'm working on all these pilot lessons and things like that, because I decided to be more of a journalist one day. Throughout this presentation, and on top of that story, there's a couple things that I have learned working at a news station across, and several news stations across the country. here in the Fort Smith-Fayetteville area, also a meteorologist in Cleveland, Ohio, and taking those experiences. And I think there's a couple things that someone in the journalism world can just share pieces of advice with you guys. And it's an honor to be with you all because you're the best and brightest in the journalism field here in Arkansas. So it's definitely a pleasure to be here. So let's go ahead and get started, and then we'll get into that story when I became a journalist for a summer. So when I asked my bosses and I said, do we have the presentation up? We might be able to go ahead and get into that. Oh, I have to connect it. You have to press something else. Okay. We're almost there.
They maybe want a dad joke or something.
Can we try a different port?
Yep. That's why you don't unplug it when it's first working.
That's right. Yeah, we would. Oh. Something's going on.
Yeah, give it a second. You're good.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. All right. I think it reloaded. I'll give it a quick second. I had some GIFs and stuff in there that we may be able to load up. All right, so why are we here? So when I talked to my bosses about me even being a journalist and with a confused look, I decided to crack up a dictionary, and it said writing characterized by a direct presentation of facts or description of events without an attempt at interpretation. So you could say in the meteorological world that I do that, I guess, because I come up with a forecast, or maybe something happened in the weather. For example, who's from the Little Rock area? Raise your hand here. Wow! So we were there. In fact, my bosses were with me there too. You guys had that EF3 tornado, and so we were there helping cover that. So I'd say this would classify in that as well. But when it comes to journalism, I really think of telling a story. That's in my opinion, that's one of the best ways to describe it, but without trying to put an interpretation on it too. That's an important part of journalism. But one other part is the author. So I think the author has a big part to play in journalism because you want to get something from someone who's credible, someone who knows what they're doing. And what you guys are doing is you are gaining this experience where you're gaining the background, the experience, and then eventually you're part of this organization, and you'll be a part of an organization later into the future too, and you will build that credibility. For example, I went onto YouTube because that's how we uploaded all our first video cast that we did in college, and this is my very first time. I look like I'm in pain, by the way. So I went to Valparaiso University, which is up near Chicago. But the first thing they told me is that we'd have a bunch of bright lights. So I need to go buy makeup, and I've never bought makeup in my life. So I go to a Macy's and I found some, but I just picked a random shade. I look orange up there. And my hands are pale, because then they said you would have to put it on your hands too. So I'm just a mess. But this is where I started, and you guys are probably eons ahead of me, but over time, you continue to gain that position as an author. And how do you stand out? Because not all of us may have the credibility yet. That's what you guys are working on. And that's what I continue to work on every day, even at the age of 28, trying to continue to establish myself as the chief meteorologist here in Northwest Arkansas. But what I think drives audiences to you, because right, every journalist, you need that audience, is authenticity. And that's something that anyone can bring, no matter what age, no matter what level of experience that you have. And I also believe, to my core, that your best work is done when you're passionate about something. But sometimes, I got my boss right here too. I keep picking on him. He may give me a topic that I'm not very interested in, but guess what? I got to do it, right? Sometimes you're going to have pieces that you may not be very passionate about. And so this is what led me to the story about eventually trying to become a pilot, because when you're not passionate about something, I want you to start thinking creatively. Maybe it's just figuring out how to tell the story. Maybe you're not passionate about the story itself, but maybe you're passionate about trying to figure out a way to tell that story. So we're going to go to number 2. This is the engage part. Before we really get into it, that's me. I'm flying without my license, by the way. So I had a pilot. I was the co-pilot. You can just transfer controls to the other set right there. But that's me flying up in North Dakota. So here's the topic: weather modification. Ooh, it's kind of a scary topic, right? It's kind of a controversial topic, too. And when I was in meteorology school, we had talked a little bit about weather modification. What does that even mean? And essentially, you are altering the atmosphere for an expected outcome. So in our regard, across the U.S., we have almost 100 different weather modification exercises that we do. These are all done by the federal government. And this is where I start to put my journalism cap on, because I'm thinking, okay, this is a topic I don't really know much about, and I want to know more about it, because I don't want to make an opinion on something that I don't know about, right? And so this is one area I challenge you. When you have a story that you need to pursue, jump in as much as you can. Dive head in, because you may find out more about that topic or people who are surrounded by that topic, and you may surprise yourself. You may even inspire yourself. So this is a map across the U.S. of all the regions where we have weather modification. The blue areas are places where we do cold season cloud seeding. That's where we put silver iodide and we put dry ice into storms coming in from the west coast. So the blue ones are where we try to enhance snowfall. In fact, I've got some friends who are pilots right now working on missions in the Western California at this time, because you probably have heard about the drought that's out towards the west. And notice how all these states are west of the continental divide, because generally the western half of the United States is drier. So they're trying to pull more snow, more water out of the clouds to help the river basins and help water levels there. So this is, once again, all done by the federal government. The green areas show places where they're not so much worried about snowfall, they're worried about hail. Has anyone seen hail this spring so far? So I was looking at some data. Arkansas, I believe, is now number 2 per square mile for the year of 2023 on how many hailstones we've had. That's not a record that we really want. It's a bad clap. It's a bad clap. No, we don't like that. We don't like that at all. But anyway, so we're not going to get too deep into the science, but my job was a cloud seeding project where we would try to make hailstones that were large and make them smaller, because if you have a smaller hailstone, by the time it actually reaches the ground, it'd probably melt. And so hail does a lot of damage across the U.S. So let's talk about what the summer looked like. So I joined this thing. I've never even been in North Dakota. I don't know if any of you have been in North Dakota. There were times I would stand out there and I didn't see a single soul, car, not even a power line. You feel like you're on Mars or something. But there I'm at the airport. We've got a couple of airplanes, and I've got my pilot crew with me. So I'm the meteorologist, and those are my pilots. My job was to guide these aircraft into safe spots of a thunderstorm. And if anyone has been on an airplane and you've got thunderstorms out the window, your pilot legally cannot approach any closer than 10 miles to a thunderstorm. But we had federal clearance. We went up to the thunderstorm itself for government projects. So this is me actually flying the plane. What you're looking at is it's called an SLC, which is a scary looking cloud. What you're looking at is a wall cloud on there on the left. And so you see this warm air feeding in, and that whole thing's rotating. This is what you would see before you get a tornado. In fact, before the Little Rock tornado, we were watching something just like that near Hot Springs coming up. And then once it got to Little Rock, you still had that, but then eventually it spun enough to put that tornado down for you guys in the Little Rock area. But then you see the airplane wing there on the right. A couple different parts. There's a burner. That's what we're putting in that silver iodide. It's this little container, and will last for about 2 hours, just this little container. And then you've got these, they're basically like fireworks on the end. What you're doing is you're discharging these fireworks. We'll hit a button. There's literally this launch button. You hit it, and these fireworks starts coming out of the airplane. And what you're trying to do is spark the creation of mini hailstones. So we won't get into science, but it was kind of cool. I kind of felt like I was launching missiles. But this is some of the radar data where I would look at. My job was to look at this data, try to tell the plane where they should exactly be in order to be safe. but then also to be effective as well. So that was my job, but a couple times they let me go up in the plane, which was really cool. But the reason why hail is so destructive and why the federal government dumps millions of dollars into weather modification is because we've had hailstones across Arkansas, like this past Saturday. Who's from Fort Smith? Anyone from Fort Smith? There we go, that table in the front. North side or south side? South side? I heard you guys. So you guys had some large hail. It's a little bit bigger on the north side though. But they had softball-sized hail. You can see how fast a hailstone will fall at softball size. So we have millions of dollars in damage now in Fort Smith due to those hailstones. Car shields, our car windshields, even the siding of homes, roofs are damaged. I mean, these things are serious. And the map there on the left shows you where we get a lot of that hail. A lot of it's in Arkansas, but a lot of it is actually worse. They're off towards the west. And remember that map where we do those projects, they're not in Arkansas, they're more in Texas and North Dakota. So, best summer of my life. And working with those pilots, some of my best friends, and to the point where once I had the controls in my hand, you know, just taking a leap of faith on trying to explore something as a journalist became a passion of mine. And then now I'm trying to work on pilot lessons right now to get my license. Never thought I would unless I jumped into it like a journalist. But the future. So now I get to talk about this cloud seeding project. I kind of consider myself almost an aerial storm chaser. Essentially what I was doing up there, but with a couple extra projects I had to do on the way. But I give talks now across the country from this, just for deciding to try to be a journalist for one day. I have a hail expertise. In fact, when I first joined Channel 5, they wanted to do some sort of thing where I was known as meteorologist, but also a hail expert, because we get a lot of hail here. And so I have some knowledge on how to predict when hail's gonna form. In fact, you saw the picture there just a second ago. I can figure out where the hail is in the storm before it even falls, and then try to project where it may fall next. And so now I try to bring some of that expertise to you guys here in Arkansas. And then plus, I forgot the first bullet point, understand the controversial topic more deeply. Here's the thing, so this is why I really wanted to jump into it, because when you hear weather modification, you think, why are we trying to mess with the weather? And going into it a little bit more, there's a couple questions I wanted answered. Is that silver iodide safe? And from the federal government standpoint and the EPA, it is safe from their perspective. When they measure water, it's not even traceable. We only have a little container that we do. So that was one thing that I wanted answered from people who actually work on the project, not some maybe person who sells you the silver iodide, right? And then I also wanted to know, how is it being used across the rest of the world? Because we're not the only country that's doing it. A lot of the nations in the Middle East are doing it. So I got a picture of Saudi Arabia. They have one of the biggest projects. If you remember the aircraft that I showed you, they're kind of small little dinky planes. You know, this is some Boeing liner that you see. You know, the Saudis have a lot of money, that oil money, that they're putting these really big planes, but they're doing as well. They want to try to green the peninsula, but what they're doing is using weather modifications. So some of my pilot friends are now stationed in Saudi Arabia trying to work for them. So I learned a lot that summer, and it's helped me in the future for my job. It's helped me be able to do talks for people and help to understand weather modification. Is it okay? And when we were there, we learned a little bit more. If you think about it, for Fayetteville, this used to be just countryside, forest. You got the beautiful mountains there. We had a chance to see it from the balcony right before dinner. But when we had paved Fayetteville and we built our buildings and things like that, that kind of changes the surface boundary layer for weather, which constantly is changing. So we're actually changing the environment in several different ways, and this is just another way. But I learned more about it. And sometimes I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it, and that's okay. But I learned more about it, being more of a journalist. So here's the next part. We've got a story, right? But how do we tell our story? So we want to get from here, we want to get over there. I work in traditional media, but also we cross into new media as well. And there's a couple pros and cons to that. The pros are, we're well established, right? If you hear KFSM or Channel 5, or maybe here in Northwest Arkansas, we have 4029, we have Ken WA, you hear those names, you at least recognize them. You may not watch them every day, but you at least recognize them. So they have that. They have very wide reach, multiple channels, and then there's more oversight and there's more credibility. I've got my boss right here. We got to run things through Michael before we can put them on air. So we want to make sure that everything is fact-checked and we don't put an accidental spin on anything like that. So there's more credibility to some of our legacy media, but it's more expensive to run a TV station than it is to run a Facebook page for sure. And sometimes it's a little bit harder to have a target audience. So but traditional media is still alive and well, and we keep crossing into new media. So we've got websites, or social media, and then even all the way down to email. Has anyone accidentally signed up on an email chain and you can't figure out how to unsubscribe it? Something like that. That could be considered new media. I see a couple of heads shaking. So there's a couple examples, but let's go into more on the social media side, because that's one side that I'm passionate about. So when I was working in North Dakota, that's where I actually started I have a meteorologist Facebook page. That's when I started it. And my first couple things I shared were pictures of being up in the plane and with the hailstones. But I wanted to look among US adults what platforms are the most popular. So I'm gonna brighten my screen up. So Facebook is still king. We got YouTube and Instagram. Be Real is something that's coming up. Did anyone open up their Be Real app earlier today? I saw Carly had, yeah, some of you guys? So this is among US adults, but you guys are Gen Z, correct? Because you're not Gen Alpha yet, right? Is Gen Alpha younger than us? I think, I see a couple of heads shaking. So Gen Z in here. So let's go to Gen Z, because it's interesting. You can see the percentages there in the middle. It's still ranked by the same social media platforms as the US adults, but you can see the percentages. It looks like Instagram is number one. Raise your hand if you have Instagram. All right, raise your hand if you have a Facebook. Ooh, I saw some go down. YouTube, do you have, okay, well YouTube's hard because, do you watch YouTube videos? All right, there we go. All right, and then Be Real, who has Be Real? That one's getting hot. You need that, so that went from 1% to 13%. That has the biggest change. It looks like Twitch went up. I think that's for video games. Kind of seeing a couple live streaming. Yeah. So it's interesting, right? Because we're traditional media. We're trying to figure out how to reach Gen Z. And this is what you guys are key to trying to figure out. You are Gen Z. So you're taking journalism and you are going to be the ones who are going to help pioneer us in order to help shape these stories and to help share them in different platforms that people are now using. So here's a couple examples that I've kind of learned here on the side, what has worked and what has not worked in social media. We've got our traditional posts. It's kind of weird to me calling Facebook traditional, but you got more relatable and shareable content, I think really helps with that. A lot of people like to share things. So here we've got a couple examples. Before we had some ice storms here in Arkansas, which really shut us down, someone made me an ice poem, and that's just a way to try to be relatable. And so we posted the ice poem. A couple weeks ago, we had the 5 planets align in the sky. We made a post about that to try to figure out, okay, look in this direction, and you're gonna see these stars, and this one's that one's this, all that kind of stuff. And those things tend to do a lot better, I think, on the traditional posts, traditional social media sources. Then we got vertical shorts. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but I'm gonna go with that. But I think the best way to do it is try to start with that hook. You know, as a journalist, some of the best times, did you know that? And then you go on into telling your story. Maybe it's something the Arkansas legislature just passed. You're like, did you know Arkansas just passed this? And then you get into it. You try to hook people in because so we had a meeting with TikTok a couple weeks ago with our company, and TikTok told us that if you're not hooked within the first 2 seconds, what do? You scroll. And so you want to try to hook them in the first 2 seconds. But you also want to try to make the video captivating. A lot of times showing a human face works unless the video is just absolutely incredible. And then pets also, of course, do very well. But you want to sound confident on TikTok. That's one of the most important things. And try to use some humor, too, which sometimes can be difficult in journalism, but that's where you try to become creative. And the last example for long-form video, which is something that we're continuing to get into as a legacy media station, trying to break more into YouTube. And to some degree, Meta is trying to eat some of the pie out of YouTube right now. And so one of the most important things, as you guys know, is the thumbnail on some of these things. I mean, I'm trying to give you realistic applications when you're trying to tell your story to help get the story out there. And one of the most important things you've got to do is you've got to play the game. The game is set by Google right now and their almighty algorithm. If you want to make a story, you want to make sure that Google actually shares it. And so when you're filling out a story or a YouTube video, because YouTube is owned by Google, you want to fill out everything, and so in order to increase what's called that SEO. But that's kind of some of those examples to give you an idea on how to tell your story, how to get it out there. So the last part, we've got our convention. Innovate, impact, and inspire. So how are we going to do that? Well, I think with innovation, not only is it about the story itself, but the vehicle that you deliver your story. So maybe you experiment with video techniques. You know, you guys have seen YouTube videos and the ad pops up, which shows you how to add these motion templates and graphics and transitions and all that kinds of thing. Maybe they're After Effects templates, things like that. Because a lot of you guys will have to focus on video, being able to tell your story. Even print media is starting to have to focus a little bit more on video. And so that's one way to try to innovate, try to tell your story in a creative way. And then also, how do you shoot the video, right? Maybe you don't have a massive camera. We've got massive cameras at Channel 5 all day long, but they're hard to carry around all day long. So we've got GoPros, we've got drones now. Sometimes we even use iPhones, right? Because we can get the iPhone in a clever situation. Maybe we turn it to that 0.5 on the iPhone to get that wider field of vision. You want to have fun. If you're not having fun, then your audience may not have some fun. And sometimes it's not always about your audience having fun depending on your journalism story, but sometimes it can be. So you want to have fun with that. And then impact. You want to relate with your person. Why are you even telling the story? And that's one reason where I think I can come in as a meteorologist where I've had to learn how to be relatable. So when we've got storms, instead of me saying, hey, storms are going to arrive in 15 minutes. Okay, but let's relate. So how would I do that? For example, we were doing some live streams today. We had some severe thunderstorm warnings in the mountains. If you guys came up from Little Rock, you probably went through the Boston Mountains getting here. It's a beautiful drive, but we had some hailstones out there, so we were tracking them. So maybe one way to be relatable is, okay, if you're sitting in maybe Mountainburg, which is one of the exits off of I-49 in those mountains, you can say, hey, we got a storm coming in. You're going to look in that western sky. The wind's going to start to pick up first, then the heavy rain, and then you may get some hail. That's what it's probably going to be like in your town. You know, that can tell you, oh, okay, wow, he's walking me through the storm, what is going to happen in the next couple of minutes, rather than just saying, we've got a thunderstorm coming up here very shortly. So we try to do that. Also, be relatable. Show off your area. One of the coolest things about our job is not only do we get to tell the news, but we get to show off the pretty cool place we live. Arkansas, natural state. We've got so many things going for us. We do some waterfall adventures every once in a while, and we'll hit some people on the trails, and they'll say, you know what, there's some incredible waterfalls out west, but I tell you what, Arkansas is one of the best places to go hiking because it's untouched. There are fewer people here, you know. You can be on a trail in California and see an awesome waterfall, but then what you don't see in the picture is a line of 100 people behind you. So Arkansas is one of the coolest places to live from a natural beauty standpoint, so show it off. And connect with your social platforms. All of you as journalists will probably have professional platforms that you have. Maybe you have your professional Facebook and a professional TikTok, different things like that. So connecting with people, I think really adds repertoire with your audience. They want someone who feels like a neighbor to them. You know, if your neighbor's standing across the street, you want to tell them a story, that's the kind of person that you want to have that relationship, and you want to try to build that relationship with your audience as well. But also try to teach us something. It's always fun to learn. We're always learning. And the last part, inspire. So try to create something cool and unique. When you're creating a story, make sure you go out of your way to tell it in a new way. Maybe try to think of other ways that no one else has done it before. And just jump in. You never know. You may even inspire yourself to follow a dream, just like I did. All right, I appreciate you guys. I think I messed with your mic a little bit.
Thank you so much, Matt Standish. We appreciate you. Oh, I think I'm gonna knock this off the stage. Wait a minute. Let me slide that. There we go. Don't want too much drama in here. I don't want to be a news story. You know, go tumbling off the stage or something. That wouldn't be cool.
Okay, and you just again hit over, and they're waiting for what the winner is, and then they'll play the video. Okay.
So where we should be?
So this is second runner-up in broadcast journalist,
And then
and then first runner-up, and then after that one you say, and then winner is, and they'll play the video.
okay.
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 So yeah, and then Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started with our of the year presentations. Yeah. And all the runner-ups and the winners, you will come up and get your certificate or your plaque, and then yeah, take it back to your table. Also, you can, we have a photographer who's going to take pictures of all of the winners. And so if you either get it from me or Miss Fitz, just kind of pose with us, and our photographer is going to take your picture with us. So, yeah.
Alrighty, so let's get this party started. Broadcast Journalist of the Year, 5A, 7A. Second runner-up is, it's Jacob Shelley from Searcy High School. First runner-up, 5A to 7A, is Caitlin Shaw, Fayetteville High School. And the winner is...
I'm Chelsea Jensen. As a member of the Hornet Media News team, I'm striving to inspire, innovate, and impact through the storytelling process.
Go ahead, do producer. Yeah.
Okay, and the next category is Broadcast Producer of the Year, 5A, 7A. The second runner-up is Nick Gibbs from Bryan High School. First runner-up is Nevaeh Robinson, Bryan High School. And the winner is... Okay, next, Broadcast On-Air Talent of the Year, 5A to 7A. Second runner-up is Lucas Turberville, Lakeside High School. First runner-up is Caitlin Shaw, Fayetteville High School. And the winner is of the Year On-Air Talent.
read off the list.
Okay.
Broadcast Journalist of the Year.
Okay, and
The
then
winner,
I don't
1A to
have to
4A.
switch to the next, okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so next we have Broadcast Journalist of the Year.
1A to 4A.
1A to 4A is, let's see.
And it's like junior high, and then we need to do it for.
I'm here at
1A to
Canshare to
4A
learn
too.
a little more about what goes on behind the scenes of our local nonprofit organization.
Let's see.
Okay, so broadcast producer of the year.
Okay, so next we have Broadcast Producer of the Year, and this is
Middle school,
for middle school or junior high. It is Asa.
Video.
Ah, sorry. Okay. Okay. Up next is Broadcast Producer of the Year. Broadcast Producer of the Year, 1A to 4A is, I'm not gonna slip this time.
The City of Gravette strives every year to bring its citizens the best light show they can.
Broadcast on talent for 1A to 4A.
Okay, we have a Broadcast On Air Talent of the Year for 1A to 4A. The winner is
Last Monday, our GHS girls golf team went to Hot Springs and won the state championship. Freshman Tegan Muldoon led the team.
congratulations. Okay, so
For the other broadcast here. For the other broadcast.
okay, we have Broadcast Video Editor of the Year, 5A to 7A. The second runner-up is Miranda Shaver from Fayetteville High School.
Broadcast video editor.
Broadcast Video Editor of the Year, 5A, 7A. First runner-up is David LaSalle, Lakeside High School. And the winner is...
We may just have to do it this way. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do Yearbook Designer of the Year, and we're gonna do, yeah, and this is second runner-up. Okay.
Okay, on to the next. Yearbook Designer of the Year, 5A to 7A. Second runner-up is Abby McMullen, Searcy High School. Yearbook Designer of the Year, 5A, 7A. First runner-up is Little Rock Central High School.
Hang on, let me look. Okay, let's go. Yearbook Designer of the Year.
Yearbook Designer of the Year, middle or junior high school.
Winner on the screen
Winner
is...
Yearbook Designer of the Year, 1A to 4A. The winner is... Okay. Yearbook Designer of the Year, 5A to 7A. The winner is... Okay.
Forget this. And we're just gonna go from these. That work? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let's switch. Okay. All right, we are moving on to our cinematographer of the year. And our second runner-up in 5A to 7A is Emma Wise of Fayetteville High School. And the first runner-up in film cinematographer of the year for 5A to 7A is Alexei Vargas of Harbor High School. And the winner of Film Cinematographer of the Year for 5A to 7A is... All right, moving on to Film Director of the Year. And the winner of Film Director of the Year in 5A to 7A is... on to Film Editor of the Year. The winner in the 5A to 7A category of Film Editor of the Year is... All right, moving on to Filmmaker of the Year. The first runner-up in the 5A to 7A category of Filmmaker of the Year is Joseph U. Dodge of Southside High School. And the winner of Filmmaker of the Year in 5A to 7A is... Next, we are going to do Film Producer of the Year. And the winner in 5A to 7A of Film Producer of the Year is... All right, next, our Film Script Writer of the Year. First runner-up in our 5A to 7A category is Anthony Bartrace from Springdale High School. And the winner in 5A to 7A of Film Script Writer of the Year is... Are there any runner-ups or anything? Nope. Okay. All right, next we are moving on to Literary Magazine Editor of the Year. And the winner of Literary Magazine Editor of the Year in 5A to 7A is... Okay, we are moving on to our Newspaper Editor of the Year. Our first runner-up in the middle school junior high division is Annabelle Odom of Bryant Junior High School. And the winner of Newspaper Editor of the Year for middle school junior high is... All right, Newspaper Editor of the Year in 1A to 4A. The winner is... All right, moving on to Newspaper Editor of the Year in 5A to 7A. The second runner-up is Nicholas Torini of Catholic High School. And first runner-up in Newspaper Editor of the Year in 5A to 7A is Griffin May from Little Rock Central High School. And the winner of Newspaper Editor of the Year in 5A to 7A is... Yep. All right, moving on to Yearbook Editor of the Year. The winner of Yearbook Editor of the Year in Middle School, Junior High, or Freshman Academy is...
Okay. Of the year. He didn't do the runner-up. The second runner-up in Yearbook Editor of the Year for 1A to 4A, to 5A, 7A schools, I'm sorry. I'll do 1A, 4A schools first. The first runner-up for 1A to 4A schools, Garrison Brister from Episcopal. And the winner, 1A to 4A schools for Yearbook Editor of the Year. The second runner-up for Yearbook Editor of the Year, 5A to 7A, is Avery McMullen from BB High School. The first runner-up, Yearbook Editor of the Year, 5A to 7A, Leighton Gowdy, Bryant Junior High School. And the winner, 5A to 7A, Yearbook Editor of the Year.
Okay, moving on to Literary Magazine Writer of the Year. The second runner-up in 5A to 7A Lit Mag Writer of the Year goes to Simon Guest of Little Rock Central High School. Our first runner-up in Literary Magazine Writer of the Year in 5A to 7A goes to Lily Pierce of Fayetteville High School. And Literary Magazine Writer of the Year in 5A to 7A, the winner is... All right, moving on to Newspaper Writer of the Year. The first runner-up in Newspaper Writer of the Year for middle school or junior high is Katie Wright of Bryant Junior High School. And the winner of Newspaper Writer of the Year for middle school, junior high, or freshman academy is... And the winner of Newspaper Writer of the Year in 1A to 4A is... All right, Newspaper Writer of the Year in 5A to 7A, the second runner-up is Dia Rohak from Bryant High School. The first runner-up in Newspaper Writer of the Year, 5A to 7A, is Audrey Marving, Harbor High School. And the winner of Newspaper Writer of the Year in 5A to 7A is... Oh, no, we need to go back and do that. Go tell him. Okay, moving on to Yearbook Writer of the Year. Our winner in middle school, junior high, or freshman academy and Yearbook Writer of the Year is...
Yearbook Writer of the Year. First runner-up for 5A to, second runner-up for 5A to 7A, Allison Fiskin, Little Rock. Yearbook Writer of the Year. First runner-up, Nicole Abram, Fayetteville High School. And the winner for Yearbook Writer of the Year, 5A to 7A, is...
Business Manager of the Year. The winner in the Middle School, Junior High, or Freshman Academy category is... And the winner of Business Manager of the Year for 5A to 7A is... All right. And for Literary Magazine Designer of the Year, the winner in 5A to 7A is... Is he playing it? What? Okay. The winner is Zoe Simmons from Little Rock Central High School. All right, moving on to our final student category of the evening. We are on Photojournalist of the Year. Our second runner-up in Middle School, Junior High, or Freshman Academy Photojournalist of the Year is Carson Williams, Woodland Junior High School. First runner-up in the Middle School, Junior High, Freshman Academy category of Photojournalist of the Year is Amelia Bramlett of Woodland Junior High School. And the winner of Photojournalist of the Year for Middle School, Junior High, or Freshman Academy is...
Okay. Second runner-up for wait, no, we gotta do 1A first. Okay. First runner-up for Photojournalist of the Year, 1A to 4A, Reagan Decker, Buffalo Island Central. Photojournalist of the Year, second runner-up, 5A to 7A, NK Way, Catholic High School. And first runner-up, Photojournalist of the Year, 5A to 7A, Ellie Trainer, Fayetteville High School. And the winner, 1A to 4A, Photojournalist of the Year, winner for Photojournalist of the Year, 5A to 7A, Cooper Trailer.
Let's give one more round of applause to all of our winners and runners-up tonight. Getting ready for tonight, and I got to see a lot of the work that you did, and I truly think that we have some of the most talented Scholastic journalists in the country here in Arkansas, so really excited about that. And we're moving on tonight to kind of the category of to see some adults and see how they help you become the journalist that you are and do the amazing work that you do. And starting off, we're going to start with our Administrator of the Year. So we'll do Administrator, Advisor, and then we'll give out our Walter J. Lemke Award. Our first award is for Administrator of the Year. And since we are all on Scholastic journalism here in the room, we know how tenuous it can be between journalism programs and administrators a lot of the time. However, this principal is a very strong supporter of their school's journalism program and their program's advisor. This advisor said that when they wanted to expand their program to include more grades and more students than they ever had, the advisor prepared a list of all the reasons why they needed to expand and how it was going to happen, what could happen. And they went and asked their administrator, and before they could even get to their list, their administrator said, sure, whatever you need, which that does not always happen. This administrator has supported journalism at their school by funding trips, contests, new computers, new cameras, new lenses, you name it. When the yearbook editors at this person's school wanted to write a story about a very controversial mascot change in the town, they wanted to interview the principal. And the principal agreed to sit down for an interview. Later, the advisor saw the principal in passing and said, and didn't really know how the principal felt about the situation and about the interview and everything like that. The advisor was a little nervous, and the principal said, hey, your editors came and interviewed me the other day. And the advisor responded back with, oh yeah? And the principal simply responded, they did great, I'm glad they're doing it. This principal has also stood outside for 2 days with the advisor in a mask and gloves during May of 2020 to help with yearbook distribution during the pandemic. So this one is really special to me because the 2023 Arkansas Scholastic Press Association's Administrator of the Year is... That's my principal, so. Okay, moving on to Advisor of the Year. This journalist advisor was nominated by 3 of their students, and they not only have built a national award-winning program at one school in our state, but at 2 schools in our state. Their programs have won numerous awards, including those from STN, Skills USA, and ASPA, and it was evident through their nomination letters, which again were all from students. And they described that their advisor is not only gifted in broadcast journalism and in teaching, but also really cares about their students. One student wrote, if it weren't for this advisor, I wouldn't be the person I am now. This advisor is not only my advisor, but my best friend. He is always looking out for his students, always doing what he can to ensure our success, and always tells us what we need to hear, even when it's not what we want to hear. Another student said, there's plenty of teachers who are willing to pile on work and let the student figure it out on their own. But he isn't one of those teachers. Our advisor continuously makes it known that even though there's deadlines to meet, a broadcast story is never going to come above a student. In fact, all 3 students mentioned how there would be a lot of students at their school walking the halls with no idea what they want to do if it weren't for this advisor. All 3 said they want to pursue a career in broadcast journalism because of the work of this advisor. And this advisor is not only an asset to their program or programs, since they've them too. But they're also an asset to our organization, the Arkansas Scholastic Press. And so it's my honor to announce that the 2023 Arkansas Scholastic Press Association Advisor of the Year is... Okay, Michael, you have to come top. Yep.
So it wasn't judged on the video performance tonight. They didn't tell me I had to talk. My kids at Arkansas High, where I started. I love you guys. Mr. Akins, you're doing a great job with that program. Keep up the good work. And thank you for giving me a start teaching. And my kids at Bryant that took on the difficult task of being Bryant High School in 7A and starting a brand new program and taking it to the top right away. Thank you very much. Y'all are the best. Thank you.
And our final adult award for this evening is the Walter J. Lemke Award. And this is probably our most prestigious award that we give out here at the Arkansas Scholastic Press because it's named after our founder. It recognizes someone who has a tremendous impact on our organization, and they have done a lot for the field of journalism, and we know they're going to continue doing a lot for journalism. This year's recipient has served our organization in a variety of ways, including being president-elect, being president, and currently serves as the leader of the President's School. They are a strong proponent of scholastic journalism and has fought for everyone in this room. They are a constant source of inspiration and support for our organization, and not only have they helped legislation in our state to protect student journalists, they've also worked with the University of Arkansas during our transition into their system and to help install our new executive director. So it's my honor to announce that the 2023 recipient of the Walter J. Lemke Award is...
Make fun of me all the time, but I love it. I love what we do. I love being here with you guys. 25 years I've been teaching, and I've got 25 more people. So, oh, I'm kidding. I'm inspired by my kids every single day and the people that I work with. And my yearbook rep, Jenny, puts up with me missing deadlines all the time, but she knows I'm going to get it done. And when it comes to what we do, we have to be the voice of change. We have to be the voice for the voiceless. We have to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
And we have to keep doing what we're doing every single day. And that's seeking truth and telling it to everyone who will listen. Thank you so much.
All right, we have two more things that we want to recognize tonight, and they are our Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame is you have to win all Arkansas 4 out of the last 5 years, which means you're at the top of your game, you're a top program in the state. And our first recipient is Harbor High School Yearbook. And our other Hall of Fame winner is the Lit Mag from Episcopal Collegiate School.
What?
Okay, next we want to hand out our stoles and our cords to our seniors who are about to graduate and who have meant a lot to our organization. If you hear your name, just come up and we have your stole or your cord in a little bag for you with your name on it. So I'm just going to start reading them off. Okay, our first one is Avery McMullen from BB High School. James Myers from Harbor High School. Allie Flint from Harbor High School. Allison McAdams from Harbor High School. Audrey Marvin from Harbor High School. Britton Wishton from Harbor High School. Cole Carlton from Harbor High School. Ella Estep from Harbor High School. Finley McClure, Harbor High School. Greer McAllister from Harbor High School. Kennedy Barnes from Harbor High School. Janae Roulette from Harbor. Kaylee Holt from Harbor. Nate Kingsbury from Harbor. Landon Smith from Harbor. Maximore Rax from Harbor. And Tori Baldwin from Harbor. And we have Abby Price from Bryant. Dia Rohat from Bryant. Destiny Boothia, sorry I butchered your name, from Bryant. Emily Whitaker from Bryant. Hattie Woodham from Bryant. Hope Ingold from Bryant. Leighton Gowdy from Bryant. Lydia Payne from Bryant. Maria Barraza from Bryant. Sumi Jones from Bryant. Nikki Womack from Bryant. Ross Holloway from Bryant. Brooklyn Prince from Bryant. Kenzie McCullough from Bryant. Megan McCormick from Harrison High School. Noel Cofrancisco from Harrison High School. And Zoya Khan from Little Rock Central. And at this time, we want to go ahead and tell you that next year we have a few locations that we're thinking about, and they're about to be up on the screen for you. So we will be at one of these locations in 2024. And that concludes our Walsworth Awards ceremony tonight. And yeah, y'all have a good one.